every year we're putting together the 2017 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we do, one of the many things in this magazine, it's a 400-page magazine, guys. One of the many things we do is the all-Texas college team. Okay? Simply put, we take all the college football teams in the state, and we say, all right, here's the first-team quarterback, here are the first-team running backs, here are the first-team wide receivers. Based on all of them, take all those players and combine them. Who would be your starting whatever? Starting 11, starting 22.
Right.
We do first and second team. And, like, I have a pretty good feeling of we know who some of the receivers are going to be. There's a couple defenders that I know are locks to make it. Some running backs that I think that we can point to and say that guy's going to be the guy. But maybe the most interesting spot on the roster is usually the easiest to call.
Yeah.
But in 2017, the quarterback is going to be the toughest to call. What we're asking is, going into 2017, what Texas college football team has the best quarterback in the state? And so I started kind of crunching a little bit of numbers and doing stuff as I want to do. And first of all, there are 6 schools that are bringing back their starting quarterback, quote unquote, or a starting quarterback, right? Baylor brings back Zach Smith. North Texas brings back Mason Fine. SMU brings back Ben Hicks. TCU brings back Kenny Hill. Texas brings back Shane Buechele. And UTEP brings back, or rather, UTSA brings back Dalton Sturm. If you want to call Ryan Metz the starter at UTEP, rather, you could probably say that that's 7 then. There are 5 programs that are definitely having a new quarterback entering 2017. Houston, probably going to be Kyle Allen.
Probably.
Rice, it's a 3-way race, and there's a great story in the Houston Chronicle about it. It's either going to be JT Granado, Jackson Tyner, Sam Glazman. Someone is going to grab that by grab that bull by the horns. At A&M, it could be Jake Hubenak. He seems to be the incumbent, but they've also got a number of high-profile youngsters in Kellen Mond and Nick Starkel who are in the mix as well. Texas State's going to have a new guy. It's probably going to be, it looks like it's going to be Damian Williams, the Mississippi State transfer. Texas Tech, Pat Mahomes is off to the NFL, so they're going to have a new guy. It's probably, all indications are Nick Shimanek has got the job. So those are basically the 12 situations. And so my question to you, Max, is who's got the best situation? Like, from a best situation perspective, I think I would have to go with maybe a team like A&M because they've got so many quality options. But if you have 3 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, right?
Right.
Because only one can play at a time.
Right. I think I've thought about this because we started talking about this last week, maybe even the week before that. I have settled on the best situation is Kenny Hill at TCU.
Okay.
Here's why. The amount of experience is
unsurpassed.
It blows away.
That is
everyone in the field. Everyone in the field.
Zach Smith at Baylor will be a sophomore.
Yes.
It's
not even
Mason
close.
Fine will be a sophomore.
Kyle Allen is
Ben
probably
Hicks.
the closest comparison. Like,
but he
reps.
didn't play last year.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But as far as like reps that have been taken, so most recent reps, Kenny Hill. Ability, Kenny Hill. He's got great ability.
You're probably true.
So the only thing you need to solve there is the decision making.
Is the consistency.
Right. You need to make him more consistent. They need to sit down and figure out, hey, we need you to get better at X, Y, and Z, and we need to put you in better situations here, here, and here.
Kenny Hill, 17 touchdowns, 13 interceptions last year. And those are cool. Those are okay numbers if you are Ben Hicks, right? And you are a freshman or sophomore, and you are kind of thrust into the job.
Right.
If you're Kenny Hill and you are expected to come in and be the man because you have this experience from A&M and you are an older player, I think you're right. I think that is not an acceptable stat line.
Right.
That is not an acceptable touchdown to
you look at it and you say, I'm sure as a skeptic, as a pessimist, you would say he's already missed the chance. But if we're looking at this field and saying which situation is the best, I think you would take all these coordinators and they would probably still say, I'm going to try and put the guy with the experience and the ability in the best position possible and see if he takes a turn around a corner.
The other thing about it, for me, that's interesting, is that some of the other candidates in this situation are changing offenses.
Right.
right?
Things are
Like,
getting
I
shaken
know
up.
Major Applewhite's an interior hire, but we don't know what that offense is necessarily going to look like
Right.
with a new quarterback in Kyle Allen, who I think we both agree was solid at A&M, and there's reason for optimism at Houston. Baylor, I mean, Zach Smith looked okay last year as a freshman, kind of rushed in there. I think there's reason for Baylor fans to be excited, but we don't know what this offense is going to look like at all. Same thing goes with Texas. Shane Buechele last year, I think, had an okay year. 21 touchdowns, which was the most in the state, by the way. Most returning.
Right.
But 11 interceptions, nearly 3,000 yards passing. But offense, going to get an overhaul. Do you go with a guy like Dalton Sturm at UTSA, who threw for 2,200 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions? It's an interesting question that, like, in past years, like last year, think back to last year, it was pretty much going to be Pat Mahomes. We had a pretty good idea this kid was going to be in for a breakout year and an even bigger year.
Yeah.
This year, it's a total mystery.
Right. And not only did we know it was going to be Pat Mahomes, he had some great people.
Sure.
Right, but Seth Russell, Greg Ward. I mean, these are players that's like, well, we'll have a great quarterback no matter what. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit different now. Now, as far as newcomers go, is there one that you look at and you go, I'm going to lean to him to be the guy that breaks out?
Well, it's easy to say Nick Shimanek, right?
Sure.
Because he's in the situation there where the offense, the Texas Tech offense, is going to hum in that particular way.
And he's got just enough experience that you feel a little good about it.
Exactly. The other guy would be probably Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
Because I think people forget that in 2014, 1,300 yards, 16 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Yeah.
You know, when Kenny Hill wasn't good, he came in and he stepped up and performed admirably.
Yeah.
Now he comes in as a fifth-year senior, ready to roll, ready to take over this program, and in an offense that he's probably going to be pretty comfortable in.
Yeah.
If there's a guy who's in for that breakout year, it's probably him. Now, it all depends on which guy wins the job at Rice. I think Jackson Tyner could be a star, personally.
Yeah.
I've been impressed ever since he was at Edgewood.
Yeah.
I think he's got a chance to be a star. I don't know a ton about Damian Williams at Texas State. He really only saw mop-up duty. He was Dak Prescott's backup, and then he was a backup last year as well. Those would probably be the guy, as far as those guys are concerned. A&M is the wild card here.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because for A&M, they have a choice. We pretty much know what we're getting from Jake Hubenak.
Yeah.
Jake Hubenak, solid quarterback, not going to blow your socks off.
Right.
I mean that very respectfully. He's a solid quarterback.
Yeah.
You can do a lot worse.
Yep.
There are a lot of teams that would love to have Jake Hubenak.
Yep.
But if you're looking for a guy to win the Heisman, he's probably not going to win the Heisman. Right. Or do you go with a guy who is super young with a super high ceiling, like Kellen Mond or like Nick Starkel?
Right.
These are guys who are just considered to be potential huge superstars down the road. Is this their time right now?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know. I'm very interested. A name we haven't mentioned a ton of is Ben Hicks.
Right.
Another situation like Tech where he's going to get an opportunity to throw the ball a lot.
Right.
And if he can lower his interceptions, he went 19 touchdowns, 15 interceptions last year. If he can bring that interception total down, all of a sudden we're talking about an all-conference style quarterback.
Right.
And he's probably the guy that I'm most intrigued by entering 2017.
And this is before even mentioning, a freshman that everyone's talking about in Austin and Sam Ellinger.
Mm-hmm.
So
could he jump up and
who knows?
steal the job from Buechele? I think it's unlikely, but it's possible.
I think so too, but we'll see.
You'll find our final decision in the 2017 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We'll probably be debating it up until then.
Probably.